Yes, whenever you're ready, we are good to go.
Okay. So we start from the slides. I talk a little
Sure.
bit.
Okay, I'll bring it up right now.
Okay, great. الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الأمين وعلى جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In today's presentation, I want to talk about some differences in two Quran which we have, if we say two versions. Normally, Muslim scholars, they don't call it versions, they call it as two different qira'at, but anyway, just two different reciters. We have many of those in the future, inshallah. We will talk about that one. But at least today, we want to discuss and see some differences in the slide. I made a slide presentation. It's clear differences between Hafs Quran, which is the dominant Quran actually. We have Quran more than 90%, maybe 95% of Muslim words follow that Quran or recite that Quran. They have that Quran, Hafs Quran, and also we have another Quran which is Warsh, Hafs and Asim, Warsh and Nafi. Two different reciters and two different transmitters. So we'll see some of these differences to see how is that we can we, yeah, this is we want to compare Hafs Quran with Warsh. This is Warsh, but can we go to the next one because we don't have, yeah, next one, this is good actually. In this one, see Hafs Quran in verse 85, chapter 2, clearly mention وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unaware of what you do, ta'malun, in the Hafs Quran. But in Warsh Quran, يعملون. In Warsh Quran, it is يعملون. Yes. So in this Quran, if you remember the previous slide, says ta'malun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unaware of what you do. But in Warsh Quran, the same verse, 284, chapter 2, verse 84, it says, وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ. God is not unaware of those, of the action of deeds of them. Whatever they do, God is aware of them actually. So it is يَعْمَلُونَ and تَعْمَلُونَ, two different words. What is the difference? The original skeleton is not different. But since we all know that tanqeet, which is the placing dots on above a letter or at the bottom of a letter, so that was later development actually, maybe more than 100 or 200 years later, the dots and tanqeet and tashkil actually developed in the Quran, which we have today. It took more than 200 years actually to become like this. So at the beginning, there was no dots, there was no fatha in kasra, in dhamma, nothing actually of this kind. So this is why some reciters recited as that as ta, and some other reciters recite it as ya, ye. This is why ta'malun and ya'malun, two different words, but the meaning, although the meaning is changed, but the message is not changed. So this is why I'm pointing out this one, that the message is the same message. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not, He knows from what we do, from what you do, or from what they do. So there is no big difference in the message actually. And next example. In this one, also chapter 2, verse 119. In the Hafs Quran we have, إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ بِالْحَقِّ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا. Indeed, we send you, O Prophet, with the truth as a bearer of glad tidings and a warner. وَلَا تُسْأَلُ عَنْ أَصْحَابِ الْجَحِيمِ. And you are not held accountable for those who are destined for the blazing fire. So in this verse, in Hafs Quran, it says, وَلَا تُسْأَلُ عَنْ أَصْحَابِ الْجَحِيمِ. You shall not be held accountable, or you are not responsible for those who are destined for the blazing fire. Remember this word, tus'al, wala tus'al, and we go to next slide. In this one, see, it says, wala tas'al an ashab al-jahim. O Prophet, don't ask about those who are destined for the blazing fire. The previous one says, you are not held accountable for those who are destined for the blazing fire. But in Warsh Quran, it says, wala tas'al, don't ask about those who are destined for the blazing fire. So these differences, this much differences, we have many of them in the Quran, in different Qurans which we have actually, or different qira'at, or different ahruf, whatever we call it, but there are differences in these Qurans. And we go to next example. Here, chapter 2, verse 125, it says, وَإِذْ جَعَلْنَا الْبَيْتَ مَثَابَةً لِلنَّاسِ أَمْنًا. What it talks about Ibrahim alayhi salam and Maqam Ibrahim in Mecca, around the Kaaba. And then says, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. Take then from the place where Ibrahim stood as a place for prayer. Take, it's a command. وَاتَّخِذُوا. وَاتَّخِذُوا is a command. Take from that place which Ibrahim stood once for building Kaaba, actually, take that place for your place of prayer. So it is a command in the Hafs Quran. But in Warsh Quran, we'll see the same verse, but it says, وَاتَّخَذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. They took from the place where Ibrahim was once stood, actually they took that place as a place for their prayer. They took. It's not command anymore. They took, because what is the difference here? The skeleton of the word is the same. There's no changes, but the vowels actually change, or these fatha, kathra, dhamma, and also shad. These things make some changes in the word, or the meaning of the word actually. In the previous one was wattakhidhu, because it had kasra. Wattakhidhu, take, which is a command, but in this one, وَاتَّخَذُوا, they took. So there are two different, grammatically, there are two different words, but the entire message is not changed that much. Okay, the next one. أم تقولون إن إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق ويعقوب والأسباط كانوا هودا أو نصارى. أم تقولون, Hafs says, chapter 2, verse 140. أم تقولون, do you say that Ibrahim and Ismail and Ishaq and Yaqub and Aswad كانوا هودا أو نصارى, they were Jews or Christian? Do you say that? Let's go to Warsh Quran, what they said. And they says, Am yakuluna inna Ibrahim Ismail Ishaq Yaqub. Do they say that Ibrahim and Ismail and Ishaq Yaqub and their descendants were Jewish or Christians? So the word am takulun is changed to am yakulun. Ta is changed to ya, actually. So there are two difference in different meaning, a little bit different, has a different meaning, actually, and you clearly notice that. Am yakuluna and am takuluna. The next one. Verse 165 in the same chapter. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. And then says, وَلَوْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا وَلَوْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِذْ يَرَوْنَ الْعَذَابَ أَنَّ الْقُوَّةَ لِلَّهِ جَمِيعًا. وَلَوْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا, if they see those who did wrong, when they see the punishment in the hereafter, actually. So وَلَوْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا وَلَوْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ, when those who did wrong, when they say that the punishment on the hereafter. This is the Hafs version. In the Warsh version, again, it's the dots from the bottom goes to the top. So it says, وَلَوْ تَرَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. If you see those who did wrong when they see the punishment. So وَلَوْ يَرَى is changed to وَلَوْ تَرَى. وَلَوْ يَرَى means if they see, وَلَوْ تَرَى if you see. This is the difference of these two versions, Warsh and Hafs. Next one. Okay, this one has a little bit different changes in this verse. Quran in chapter 2, verse 184, it says, Fidyatun ta'amu miskin, and regarding fasting time, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. For those who are not able to fast, for example, and it's too hard for them to fast, they can just feed a poor person, miskin, to feed a poor person. Ta'amu miskin. And this is in Hafs Quran. Let's go to Warsh Quran. Walau, it says, yes, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مَسَاكِينٍ. So in this one, the singular is changed to plural. So those who are not able to fast because it's too hard for them for any reason, they can give fidya, or they can feed poor persons, not one person, 4 persons. So in that case, the singular is changed to plural. We can say here it's a little bit problem with fiqh because those persons should feed only one person, those who cannot fast, and they are okay, or they have to feed many poor persons in order to be okay. So this is a little bit according to fiqh. There's a little bit problem there. And the next verse, yes, it's verse 251, the same chapter. It says, وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْضِ. وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ. If God doesn't repel some people by some other people, something like that, push or repel something to dafa. In this Hafs Quran, it says, وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْضِ. Corruption will spread on earth, or the earth will be corrupted if God don't repel some by other people, some people by other people. So it is the word dafa is used to push or repel. But this is the Hafs version. But the Warsh version, it says here, it says, وَلَوْلَا دِفَاعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْضِ. If God don't defend some people against other, in that case, corruption will, the earth will be corrupted. So here is not dafa, here it is difa. Dafa, to push or repel. Difa means to defend. To defend. So this is the difference between Warsh and Hafs Qur'ans. Next verse. Okay, this is a little bit more differences we see here. In Warsh and Hafs Quran, 259, it says, انظر إلى العظام كيف ننشزها ثم نكسوها لحما. Actually, when it's a prophet were put to sleep or died for 100 years, according to Quran, there is a story, symbolic story actually. It says, and when he became alive, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, Unzur ila al-'idhami, look to your, he was riding on a donkey actually, so that's why it is pointing to that, the bones of that donkey. Kaifa nunshizuha, kaifa nunshizuha. Nashaza is the root. Nunshizuha is, something to become alive or something. Let's go to the other one, Warsh Quran. It says here, انظر إلى العظام كيف ننشرها. It's not ze, it's re. It's not za, it's ra. So ننشرها, see how we spread something. So it's a little different meaning actually it has. And I think we have time for one more. Yes, in chapter 3, verse 37, it says, وَكَفَّلَهَا زَكَرِيَّا. وَكَفَّلَهَا. See here, when we have shad on the top of a letter, it means that two letters, actually it was two letters, so they merge to one and they put shad on the top actually. So it is kaffalaha, two fe, two word harf or letter of fa, kaffalaha. While we go to Warsh version, it just says wa kafalaha Zakaria. It's not two fa, it's one fa. You see the fe, the dot is on the bottom actually. That's a little bit different type of tanqid, which fe has one dot on the bottom, one dot on the top. Actually, it is qaf. It's not fe according to this manner of tanqid. So there are two different kafalaha in kafalaha. A little bit change the meaning, but at least one letter is added in hafs or it is removed in wash. So because two fe there in one phase here actually. So I think we enough for we go for the other slide inshallah some other time. But what I'm saying that we gave some example from hafs and from wash. Hafs, which is the almost 95% of Muslim world using that Quran, but Warsh Quran is in Northern Africa. Some maybe 20 to 30 million people follow that Quran actually. So there are two differences. And I think according to my research I did in this one, that I have that copy of both copies with me actually, at least 400 of these changes in Warsh, in Hafs. I see that clearly. Okay, when inshallah in the future we do that. This is one I want to mention in this minute, the last minute, that the message is not changed. We will talk about that one in the future, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I preserve this Quran, what that means. Whether God preserved the dots, the tanqid, the tashkil, the vowel, or the message, because the message is not changed. The message is the same message, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never changed the dots or never changed the tashkil or fatha and kasra, because we see clearly some differences in there are many other Qurans. It's not only two, at least 26 of them with different slight differences here and there. So inshallah, little by little, we discuss about these things. I want my Muslim brothers and sisters to at least know about the Quran, what differences we have. Thank you so much, and God bless, inshallah.